I always thought of myself as a rational person, someone anchored in reality, but working the night shift at the old Oakwood Hospital proved otherwise. The hospital had been standing for nearly a century, with its peeling walls, flickering fluorescent lights, and eerie silence that wrapped around you like a shroud. As a nighttime janitor, my job was simple: keep the place clean and tidy, but the long hours and desolate corridors always left me feeling uneasy. The first night started like any other. The air was stifling as I cleaned up the pediatric wing, the dim lights casting long shadows that danced along the walls. The only sounds were the soft swoosh of my mop against the tiled floor and the occasional beeping from the medical equipment. It was around 2 a.m. when I first heard it, a soft, childlike giggle echoing from the empty waiting room. My heart raced. Surely it was just my mind playing tricks on me. Kids were the last thing on my mind at that hour. But the laughter persisted. It was high-pitched, almost playful. I dismissed it, chalking it up to stress and fatigue. I continued mopping, but the laughter grew louder and more insistent. It was coming from somewhere deep inside the hospital. Against my better judgment, curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to investigate. I wandered down the corridor toward the sound, my footsteps echoing in the silence. The laughing abruptly stopped as I approached the waiting room. I stood in the doorway, peering inside. It was empty, just rows of outdated chairs and scattered toys, now covered in dust. I was about to turn back when I caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eye. A flicker of movement. When I turned, there it was. A little girl in a hospital gown, her hair hanging over her face, sitting atop a ledge of the reception desk. I felt a chill wash over me. "Hey there," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "What are you doing here all alone?" She didn't answer. Instead, she tilted her head, revealing a pale, cherubic face. But her eyes? Those eyes were empty, nothing but darkness staring back at me. The air grew heavy, almost suffocating, and a primal instinct told me to run. I slowly backed away, but it was as if I was stuck in place. Then she spoke, her voice a mere whisper. "Will you play with me?" In that moment, the lights flickered violently, plunging the room into darkness for just a heartbeat. When they returned, the girl was gone. I stumbled backward, colliding with a cart full of supplies. The sound echoed through the hallway as I fled the waiting room, heart pounding. Throughout the next few nights, things only worsened. I began to hear that laughter everywhere I went, and shadows seemed to sway and beckon in the corners of my vision. Some nights, when I entered the children's wing, the toys would be mysteriously moved, animating the silence with a hair-raising sense of presence. Dolls would be positioned unnaturally, their painted eyes seeming to follow me as I worked. One particularly harrowing night, I was pushing a broom down the dim corridor of the pediatric unit when I distinctly felt a tug on my shirt. I spun around, heart racing. No one was there. I laughed nervously, trying to convince myself I was cracking under the pressure, but deep down, I knew this wasn't just exhaustion. That's when I heard it, a soft voice whispering from one of the patient rooms, "Help me." It was the same girl from before. Panic set in and dread gripped me. I dashed toward the source of the voice, but when I reached the door, it slammed shut in my face with an audible thud. I pressed my ear against the cold wood. "Please!" I heard her plead again, desperation lacing her voice. My instincts screamed at me to run, but I hesitated, conflicted between fear and compassion. Taking a deep breath, I turned the handle, the door creaking open slowly. The room was dark, and when I stepped inside, the air was thick with an unsettling presence. The girl was there, standing in the corner, her head hanging low. I squinted, trying to make sense of the scene. Suddenly, all the lights erupted in a blinding flash, illuminating the room. What I saw will haunt me forever. Her body was wrong, twisted and contorted in ways I cannot describe. And her eyes, those empty voids, seemed to expand, swallowing the light. "Play with me." She beckoned again, but this time her voice was warped, distorted, as the shadows around her began to rise and swirl. That was it. The horror of that moment snapped me out of my paralysis. I bolted, crashing through the doorway and racing down the hall, the girl's eerie giggles mocking me as echoes rang out. I didn't stop running until I was outside, gasping for breath, the cold night air stinging my lungs. I left Oakwood Hospital that night, vowing never to return. To think I had once believed in logic and facts. I learned that night something far beyond understanding lurked within those walls. As I tell this story now, I still hear that sinister laughter echoing in my mind. Even now, on restless nights, I wonder about that little girl. Was she ever real, or just a figment of my own deteriorating sanity? But deep down, a primal fear remains, begging me to never forget. Some places hold on to darkness, and some souls once lost may never find their way home.